Hi, my name is Remy. I'm from Philly originally, so I don't live too far, but it's been a little hard adjusting to living in Baltimore, even though it's been about 3 years. The population difference is so apparent. Philly has about 1.5 million residents, I believe, and Baltimore has like half a million. So seeing that visual difference like really did a lot to me because I grew up around a lot of people in a really fast-paced environment, but I grew up in Northeast. But for the most part, I spent a lot of my life in Southwest because that's where my grandmother is from, and that's where my father grew up. Going between Baltimore and Philly has definitely made a giant impact on my politics and the views that I hold. For example, when it comes to the Black youth, I feel so passionate about them because we were in that exact same position. But when the media is telling people that these people are riding like e-bikes through the street and just terrorizing the roads, and they're just being really violent, and no one seems to be giving a solution to these problems. And it's like you can tell this child not to do X, Y, and Z, but if you're not going to give them something else to do, what can we really expect from these kids? They're children. So I feel like a major thing that's holding the Black community, specifically black, back is not having enough faith in the youth, and just not giving them the chance to like make opportunities for themselves. Like the mall downtown, we call it the fashion district, or it used to be called the gallery before they changed it and like revamped a lot of stuff. But you have to be 18 or older in order to get to the mall, even if it's like 4 o'clock. And it's like this is the only middle ground for these kids to go to, and it's the only heavily surveillance area for them to be in before they can go home, and their parents aren't home. So what are they supposed to do? And people want to say that the youth, they spend too much time on their phones and their phones doing X, Y, and Z. But in all reality, these people, like these children, are learning how to cook online. These children are learning like these important life skills, like how to clean things. I had to research how to clean different appliances in my house because my parents just didn't teach me. And if I didn't have my phone, I just wouldn't have these life skills. So I feel like it's a really unfair standard to put on these children that, hey, you need to do something else with your time, and to not give them some tangible solutions. Um, a little while ago, I was reading about how Baltimore's governor was having their recreation centers open until I believe 11 p.m. on the weekends, and then he saw a massive difference in the juvenile crime rates, and I thought that was beautiful. Like that's a tangible solution. Give these kids activities to partake in. Give them things to do so they don't spend their time doing other things, because people are like, oh, kids don't want to be kids anymore. But then when it comes to like actually giving them like, hey, do X, Y, and Z, that's what kids are supposed to do, no one seems to be saying anything. And then to insult to injury, we're selling these kids dreams without a realistic solution. Not solution, we're selling them these dreams without giving them like a realistic pathway to do so. When we were kids, they were telling us, oh, go to college, go to college, go to college. And now these people are in college and they don't know what to do. They don't know exactly what they want to do. They just know their parents are paying for them to go to college. And now they have this degree in something that they're actually not passionate about at all. And even if they do become passionate about it, that's not where it started. They had other passions beforehand. So who's to say that this person who was interested in art and ended up going into engineering, or ended up going into like a nursing degree, well, nursing career, who's to say that person couldn't have become like the next Picasso? So I feel like we need to nurture these children's creativity and nurture the skills that they're cultivating and creating within their spaces at school, instead of dismissing them as, oh, they're rowdy, it's a mess. The kids who are on the e-bikes and they're saying that they're too loud, they're too rowdy and stuff like that. Why don't we create spaces where they can learn how to safely use these things? Why not create spaces where they can use it while they're and be monitored by, and be supervised by an adult, in order to nurture like their interest in that? They're already working twice as hard against the system because they're black and they're young. To add insult to injury, I hate to keep using that phrase, but to add insult to injury, now the media is saying that they're terrorizing the city, and then their parents aren't believing them. So it's like, I feel like we just need to give more faith and put more trust in the youth that they're gonna do right, and to give them examples of people getting money and people becoming successful without them having to get the money quickly and in an affordable way. Because telling a child who lives in the projects or even lives in just, a lower income area, telling them that they're just going to go to college and this is just going to fix all their problems and they're going to get money and they're going to save the whole family, that's a lot of pressure for anybody. So I feel like that's a really unfair standard and we need to put more faith in the youth. James Baldwin once said, "I can't believe what you say because I see what you do." Why would these children believe that they can achieve anything great or even take like the long route when they don't see accurate examples of this, and then they're being depicted as little gremlins running around, so that's how they're gonna act. Moving on from that, I'm really happy with where I am in my life. Some days I don't feel too happy, but then in the same breath, I realized that, what a privilege it is for me to be complaining about the job that I spent in this time trying to manifest. I spent in this time praying for. And now I'm finally in the position that I wanted to be in back in July. And I'm just so happy that I'm so passionate and I have a willingness to start over. But I will say my willingness to start over is to a fault a lot of the times, because I feel like I just give up really easily. And I've been trying to figure out ways for me to not give up so much. Like, even with my degree, there's been so many times where I was going to switch my major. And then this semester, I realized I just wasn't having conversations with enough people about the things I was learning about. So, I'm retaining some of the knowledge, but I'm not actively having conversations about it. So the knowledge was kind of leaving me. So then whenever the topic of psychology or the topic of mental health comes up, I feel like I'm uneducated, even though I've been studying this since 2023. And then even before that, I was really interested in psychology when I was in middle school, which sounds really young, but I just had a lot of access to the internet. Within the next 5 years, I hope to be more confident in the knowledge that I hold and just in myself in general. I feel like I count myself out a lot, and I've been doing way better ever since I started having more discussions with people who are in similar disciplines as me when it comes to school. That's been really, really validating, because when I'm having a conversation with someone about mental health, and I'm talking about specifically Black mental health, and I don't have to give them like the whole rundown of the historical context as to why we have the family dynamics that we have and why X, Y, and Z happens within Black families, and it doesn't seem to happen a lot in other family dynamics. Having a conversation with someone of a similar discipline, they already have this background. And I feel like a lot of the time, whenever I'm talking to people and I'm giving them this background, I feel like I'm just lecturing them and I'm just talking at them, and then they're just completely uninterested because they feel like I'm just like talking at them rather than trying to have a conversation. But from my perspective, I'm like, I want you to have the same background knowledge as me, so we can go through the conversation without me having to stop every 2 seconds to be like, yeah, X, Y, and Z. This is why the family dynamics like this. This is why we have these like hood politics. This is why X, Y, and Z is going on. I've been surrounding myself, like I said before, I've been surrounding myself with people who are like minded and are more educated in me in certain aspects. That way, I'm still challenging myself and I'm not just surrounding myself by people who have the same views as me and they're just like enabling everything that I'm saying and they're just like, yeah, that's correct. I don't need a yes man whatsoever. But I've been surrounding myself with these people. But I've been surrounding myself with these people in order for me to challenge myself and be able to grow as a person, and that's gonna help me towards my goals for the next 5 years.